In this tutorial, we will look to see how to enter a customer order in from a PO. The first thing we have to do is find the part. So we will click in the search bar. And in this example, we want to add an order for the sample machine part. So I will type in the word sample. We will see what is returned. Is anything with the word sample in the customer name, part number, or description. And so here is the sample machine part. Now there are multiple ways we can get to the adding of this purchase order into the FloorVisio system. First, you can see that beside the part number, the hyperlink of ORD. If we click this link, it will take us directly to adding the new order. A second way we can get to this, adding of the order, is from the part record. And so here we're looking at the actual part record in FloorVisio. We can click on Orders and the button of Add Order. We'll see we're taken to the adding of the new order. And then the third way that you can come to the same page of adding the order is from the part record. We'll go to the quotes. You see this quote here? We will edit and view it. And so we see down here that it determined 25 pieces should be a price of $36.28 each. That's based on the engineering master and the machine cost set up in FloorVisio. And so in this example, we can click on the 25 pieces. We'll notice the price is $36.28. And when I click on this, 25 pieces, you'll see it'll come to the adding of the new order. But this time, the quantity and the price are already filled in because we took it from the quote. So I'm going to go back to the home page. I want to enter an order for the sample machine part. So we'll type the word sample. And for this example, we will click the link ORD beside sample machine part. Now we need to fill in the details for this order. So the date entered, that's the date you entered the order in. The order status, you can choose for release, closed, canceled, on hold, pending, or quote only. When entering in a new order, released, on hold, or pending would be what you would choose. A status of released means it's ready to go to the floor and be manufactured. A status upon hold would be that this order is on hold for some reason and pending. The order's pending release. So only orders that have a status of release will be visible and able to be manufactured on the shop floor. So for this example, we'll select Released. The PO number is the purchase order on the customer's PO. For this example, we will use test 123. The cell 2 is a drop-down list that you can choose the customer and or yourself. The reason you would choose yourself is if you're rebuilding this part for stock to put on yourself. In that way, you can put a work order out on your shop floor to build parts for internal stock. In this example, we will leave it as the sample customer. PO line is the line item on the purchase order. The quantity is how many they want to order. So we will say 25 pieces. The price is the price on their purchase order. Now when it comes to price, you are able to click the button Quote. And it will pull up the quote history on this. And so quote number 10, we quoted 25 pieces at $36.28. And so we would want to make sure that their PO has a price of $36.28 for 25 pieces. We can also look at the sales history by clicking the Sales button. We will see that we sold it on work order 138. We've already shipped one. And what they sold for each. Ship quantities, how many have you shipped? And the due date is when the customer would like this order from. Their purchase order. This is the date they would like it to be delivered to them. In this example, we will choose December 19th. Now underneath this row, you see you have reports required, inspection report, material certification, or certificate of compliance. With these checked, or if any of these are checked, these items will have to be in place before a packing slip can be printed. And so if this customer requires a material certification, the material certifications would have to be uploaded to this work order before the part could ship. Certificate of compliance, if that is checked, the system can automatically generate a certificate of compliance for you. Inspection report, if this is checked, the inspection report will have to be uploaded to this work order before this order can ship. The auto close, this is used when you are buying materials to bring internally and set into inventory. And so what happens is when the receipts happen on that purchase order, it will automatically close this work order if this is checked. You would only leave this checked or have this checked for items where all you are doing is buying the item and putting it in stock internally. The shipping goal, you can choose due date, this week or next week. This is the manufacturing goals, as laid out in other videos. And so we'll leave that at by due date. Stocking order, if you select restock here, it will automatically check auto close. It will sell to yourself, and it will type in your address and your ship to and the sold to and ship to and fill all these details in for your company name. You would select restock. If you're buying something or making something to put on the shelf internally. The engineering master version. This comes from the engineering master, and you have a drop-down of all master versions available for this part. So you may have an engineering master set up to where you make this part internally, and you may have another engineering master set up to where you purchase this part externally. And so when you enter the order, you can select which master version you want to use for this order. Sales and quote buttons, we've covered that. Inventory status. What this shows is we have 0 pieces in inventory. The total demand for this part right now is 99 pieces, which leaves us a balance of minus 99 pieces. Part numbers, this will be the part number on their purchase order. Part revision, you'll want to make sure that these part number, part revision, and part description match their purchase order. FOB stands for freight on board. That is typically the name of the town where your company is located, but we'll say Sample City, Tennessee. Carrier is how they want this item shipped to them. Sold to is the mailing address of where this company wants their invoices mailed to if you choose to mail them by postal mail. Ship to is the address that you'll ship the parts to. Shipping account, so this is set up underneath the customer's default. This will let the shipping person know when this item ships to ship at UPS using this UPS account number. We can see that this has no sales rep. Advanced shipping notice. What these email addresses are for is when the part ships, you have the option of automatically sending a shipping notice. And so all of the email addresses in this field will be sent an email notifying that this part and this order is shipping. You can have multiple email addresses in this field separated by a semicolon. Now if you have the inspection report, material certification, or certificate of compliance checked, these will have to be in place before the order can ship. Once the order does ship, if these are in place and checked, not only will the advanced shipping notice notify them of the part that is shipping, but it will also automatically attach the inspection report, material certification, and certificate of compliance to this advanced shipping notice email. So for this example, we're going to leave these unchecked. QuickBooks customer name. This needs to match identically the customer name is set up in your QuickBooks. Sending invoices in QuickBooks. This is how do you send invoices from QuickBooks. Do you use email or postal mail? Accounts payable email address. This is the email address that the invoice needs to be sent to for this item. Payment terms. Select what the payment terms are. Any notes about this order can be entered into the order notes field or the order entry notes. And so with all of these lines and fields filled in, we can now click on Save Order. And we'll see that it is saved, and we have created work order 144. For the sample customer sample machine part, Reva mounting plate, and we can see it's for 25 pieces. So now if we look at this part record, we'll see we have 2 work orders in here. We just entered work order 144. We can see that it has not been started. We can click on Orders. Here's this work order 144, and we can click Edit. And come back. And here is the order itself. So we can add information here as need be on this order. So that concludes this tutorial on how to enter a order into the FloorVisio MRP system.